Hello dear Cancerians, and welcome to your May 2021 horoscope. If this is your first time here, my name is Justina and I use Western Astrology Tropical Zodiac, and these predictions are most accurate for the rising sign. However, if you don't know your rising sign, you can also check your sun sign or your moon sign. So welcome. Now April ended with Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn, where it will remain in this motion until October the 7th. And for you more specifically, this is the 7th house retrograde. So here some of you may have to face some obstacles in your personal relationships. However, if you face these challenges and overcome them, you could transform your relationship into a healthier union. Now, this doesn't have to be your love relationship. This could be a close friendship or a business partnership as well. Now, let's move to May predictions. So in May, we've got Mercury moving into your 12th house on the 3rd of the month. And with Mercury in your 12th house, there is a tendency for keeping your opinions, thoughts to yourself. You could become more mysterious, more secretive during this time. And this is because you might feel like misunderstood by others sometimes. And this can lead to you wanting to become more mysterious, or you wanting to keep some opinions or thoughts to yourself. However, with Mercury here, you might also become more interested in the invisible world. You might want to do some soul searching, reading, researching. You could be also closing some chapters in your life, because this is the 12th house, so the end of the astrological chart. So you could be ending some projects, some chapters in your life. And also we've got Venus joining Mercury on the 8th of the month. And with Venus in your 12th house, there could be this great desire to help others. So Venus in the 12th house is connected to unconditional love very often. So some charity work, for example, but also you might want to keep some things about your love life to yourself. And if you start a new relationship at this time, you might also feel like you want to keep it as a secret in the initial stage at least. Venus in the 12th house is also connected to feeling not appreciated by others sometimes. So it's something to keep in mind. Don't get discouraged if this happens to you. It's just a temporary transit. Now on the 11th of the month, we've got a new moon in Taurus happening in your 11th house of friendships, groups you belong to, networking, hopes and wishes. So with this fixed moon phase, this is an opportunity for some new beginnings, for some life improvements, for building something new. Especially if you have been feeling restricted with your finances, for instance, as a result of any investments, mortgages or loans that you may have. Here I'm talking about the moon separating from the square with Saturn in your 8th house. And there could be this inner urge to act now. You might feel like now or never, with Jupiter at 29 degrees. In the final degrees of Aquarius, there could be this inner urge as well. With this new moon, you could also begin a new friendship, join a new group to meet like-minded people. Now, on the 13th of the month, we've got Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, abundance, and luck, moving into your 9th house, where it will remain until July 26th. So Jupiter is moving into Pisces. It's a big event of the month, because Jupiter will move into Pisces and stay in Pisces throughout 2022. And here during May, June and July, we will have a little taste of what 2022 could be like for us. So it could be a really positive time, because Jupiter rules the 9th house. So Jupiter feels very comfortable in the 9th house. So here you are likely to have this great urge for, or desire for expanding your horizons, for being free, independent. Now, Jupiter in the 9th house is connected to faraway travel. So there could be a new idea that comes up into your mind, because traveling is not possible in many places in the world. So perhaps you might have an opportunity for traveling during this time, but if not, then there could be maybe a new opportunity for next year travel. With Jupiter in the 9th house, you might also have an opportunity for expanding your knowledge, for joining a higher learning course. You are interested in moving ahead with your life. You might want to learn more about your life mission, your life path, your life direction. So it could be a really interesting time for you, dear Cancerians, during at the time that Jupiter stays in your 9th house. And on the 20th of the month, we've got the Sun moving into Gemini, and this is into your 12th house, where Mercury, Venus, and also the North Node will be present. Now, with the Sun in the 12th house, usually during this transits here, we finish a cycle here because this is the 12th house. You could be finishing some chapters here as well, as with Mercury and Venus. Now with the Sun here, you might want to kind of withdraw from the outer world temporarily. You might begin some projects from behind the scene. You might be very inspired. Your dreams could be more vivid than usual. And you might become more introverted as well. And on the 23rd of the month, we've got Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius in your 8th house. And Saturn will stay in the retrograde motion until 11th of October. Now, Saturn goes retrograde every year for about 140 days. So it's not something unusual, but here we've got Saturn activating your 8th house this time. And with Saturn in your 8th house, there is a tendency to leave other people's values in order to transform yourself, in order to let go of outdated values as well, outdated behavioral patterns. So you could be going through some internal transformation during this time, trying to find a sense of purpose for yourself. And you see, during this time, you also have Jupiter here in the 9th house, your life direction. So it's a really good time for dealing with your future, your life purpose, your goals. Now, on the 26th of the month, we've got a full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius happening in your 6th house of everyday routine, health, diet. And here, lunar eclipse is 6 times stronger than a regular full moon. So it's a very powerful time. We begin the eclipses season here with this lunar eclipse. And this lunar eclipse is connected to the solar eclipse we had back in December 2020. So if you initiated something new during that time, now during this lunar eclipse, you could see some outcomes of your efforts. However, otherwise, this lunar eclipse will illuminate the matters connected to your 6th house, so your health. So you could be more concerned about your health, your well-being. You could perhaps introduce some new health and exercise regime into your life during this time. With the moon applying to Saturn retrograde in your 8th house, you might have an opportunity to return to something that you started in the past, but it was put on hold for some reason. So now during this lunar eclipse, there could be an opportunity to return to some projects that you were unable to complete before. And the month ends with Mercury going retrograde in your 12th house. With Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, you might want to find ways to better understand yourself on a deepest level. So soul searching, becoming introverted is very common with this placement. Now, this placement might also bring some thoughts, some memories from the past. So you could be really re-evaluating your life during this time, contemplating and reflect on the past achievements. Especially since Mercury in the 12th house is connected to ending some chapters. So maybe it's time to put some old memories to rest, so that when Mercury goes direct and moves into your 1st house, you could start fresh, a fresh chapter in your life. And obviously, as with Mercury retrograde, make sure you back up all your files, all your data. And if you're planning to do any trips during this time, make sure you also check everything twice, leave early so that you don't miss train, bus, or any other transport that you will be using. And with this in mind, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have a good month ahead, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.